Well, my name is Georgina Doucette. I'm an elder here in Eskasoni, and I work with the Eskasoni Health Board.
And, my name is Michael Denny. I'm a resolution health support worker right now here at Eskasoni Mental Health, but I'm also a traditional teacher.
Well, I grew up in Indian residential school, and we always heard derogatory comments about who we were. They would call us, savages, dirty savages, Indians, dirty Indians. That's what I grew up with in residential school. But before that, when I was home with my parents, before my mom passed away, and we never heard of, any derogatory comments about who we were. In our family, we were known as Uno. And to me, it didn't mean that a certain race of a person, all I knew I was Uno, I was a person. But as I got older and learned all sorts of words and people calling us names that we were not used to. Because a long time ago, our people they were humble people. Our people are very humble. Especially the elders. When I was growing up, there was a lot of elders back then. I always seen a lot of elders, and we were taught a lot of respect. If an elder came to visit your house, you get that certain look from your mother, and you went outside to play. But today, we're a whole different race, and it's interesting. I find it interesting how we evolve. But growing up, the only word I've known as who we were unknown. And later on in life, Megama or Megamawa Nagino were Megama. And when I lost that, when I lost myself, I think I lost my spirit too in that school. I was there 8 years, and you do lose a lot of who you are. And it was very hard to recover from it. Because while my brother Roy and I were in there, our dad passed away too. So you have nobody to turn to, and nobody to teach you who you are when you got out there. You just took life for what it was. And good or bad, you lived it. But I've always had that respect for our people and for myself as Ono or Megama. But, what we hear today has to be politically correct, that we're known as Indigenous people or First Nations. When we were growing up, you never heard that. Especially where I grew up.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I lived that life and I survived. And it made me who I am today. I strongly believe that. I was a total orphan, my brother and I were. His dad was my brother. And we went in residential school, he was only 4 years old. And to grow in that environment without love, When I think about it today, I get very emotional. But after I got out, then I got married and all that. And I survived that, what I went through. I worked on it and try to help my family as much as I can, because of a lot of what I learned, I passed on to them. Because that was the only upbringing from 8 years old on till I was 16. But today, I attend sweat lodges. I am a traditional woman. And I didn't speak my language till I was 25, but that's another subject. But now I totally speak the language, and it helps me to express myself a little bit better than I would express myself in English. Because in our language, it's sometimes one word says the whole thing. It'll be one paragraph, and so.
Yeah, one word.
Yeah, one word. Yeah. And when, especially when I started speaking my language, trying to balance the two. All my life seems like I was trying to fit somewhere, trying to balance two worlds. Oh well.
Yeah.
Life is what it is. It is what it is. I love my language.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I guess, I mean, for a different, side of the coin, me growing up, we were Olno.
Mm.
Because you growing up in the school versus me growing up at home, our identity and what we called each other was Ulno. Gilno, Gilna. But Ulno doesn't mean Indian. It doesn't mean Mi'kmaq. It means person, a human being.
A human being, yeah.
And that whole idea of just everybody is Ulno, I didn't know I was different until I was older. I thought everybody was Ulnu, because that's how we called ourselves. We said Ulnuisim.
Yeah.
You speak the language of the people, Ulnuisim. And it wasn't until I was older I realized I spoke a different language. I thought everybody spoke this one language, Ulnuisim. And then when I got to school, the kids were speaking English, and I was surprised. I was shocked. I didn't know, I think I was okay speaking English. We were able to communicate with each other, but it wasn't until I was older I realized. I think I was grade 2, and it was Sarah Doucette. We were in the same class, and we were doing science or something in grade 2, and they were naming birds, naming these different kind of species of birds, and everybody's going up, putting their hands up and saying these. Teacher comes to me and says, "Michael R, what's a bird? You haven't said a bird." I said, I said, okay, blauwich. And the teacher's like, well, what is non-native teacher? She said, what is a blauwich? And I'm like, a blauwich? It's a bird? I don't know. and it didn't occur to me. So my cousin Sarah, she's like, it's a partridge. And I'm like, what? I didn't know what. So I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I guess the word Ulnu resonates, to who we are. It is, I'd say it's better than is politically correct.
Yeah.
Because anything that's politically correct today, we say Aboriginal.
Yeah.
To me, that sounds like, like you're not, you're weird, you're abnormal, So when they say different. Aboriginal, it's to me it's not I'm different, but I'm not different. I'm who I am. I'm as same as everybody, human being, and that's how my mind works. But growing up, we called each other Indian. That's no matter what. It wasn't until I was older, when I got to university, that we started to use the word native and non-native. You know,
Yeah,
we'd say
that's enough.
white guys. We'd say
Yeah.
the white guys,
Yeah.
Aglasia, or white guys, white people. And what are you? Well, I'm an Indian, I guess. So it never really occurred to me. But even, you know, according to the Indian Act, even on the status card, it says Certificate of Indian Status in the Aboriginal Affairs. Aboriginal Affairs in Northern Development Canada. My name, Michael Roy Denny, is an Indian. That's who I am. That's what it says. I'm an Indian. So the government says I'm an Indian. But the government is trying to use these words now, Indigenous, and that's only been reused the last 3 years, 5 years or something. You know, it wasn't until recently that word came around. And I think that word is kind of, it's politically correct because you're Indigenous to this area, but everybody's Indigenous to somewhere.
Yeah.
No matter where you are in the world. But for us, I guess the word Indigenous today is kind of just referring to us. But what about other people? Where are they Indigenous to? You can't just sometimes use that word and just mean it for us, because you're still marginalizing us, and you're still, you know, it's still being used to make us different.
Yeah.
And
You feel different?
yeah, I guess.
Sometimes.
Sometimes
People sometimes make me uncomfortable, and I do feel different.
yeah, like they'll point you out. You know,
Yeah.
why don't you? Well, what do you guys do in Eskasoni? Or what do you Indians do? Out east when we go travel. So how do you guys do it? So it's funny. It's funny how, you know, sometimes I do feel different. You know, especially when you go like Cape Breton, for example, where the population, the second biggest, we'll say minority. That's another word, because we're also minorities. You know, the second biggest minority in Cape Breton are Mi'kmaq people, and the second most used language in Cape Breton Island is Mi'kmaq language, more so than French Acadian, and or Gaelic or anything else. And it's funny when you go to town, it's all white people, and you do feel different. You do, you know, in the sense that
and sometimes you do feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
The person makes you feel uncomfortable.
yeah, and it's I think it's funny, but it's true in the sense that we are different, but and maybe because we're different in the sense that, you know, because in our word we say human being, ulno, that's it, you know, that's who we are. We're human beings. That's all it is. It doesn't say that we're specific tribe or anything like that. It's just people. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that we're, you know, we even say we try to use other words for other nations. Like we'll say the only word I know really that's like a Mi'kmaq word for different nation is Gwedech. And because they were our enemies, so we had to have a word for them. But like you say, like the Ojibwe and the Algonquins and all those different similar language to us, we just called them Biluilnu.
Biluilnu.
But Ulnu still there. Ulnu, the word is still there. Ulnu, like Biluilnu, different different human being. Biluilnu, like a different human being, but they're still human beings. So it's kind of today, they want to really oftentimes try to put us into kind of one, but also keep us different still. Between tribes and or nations. And that's another tribes and nations. That's another word that we can get it, because now we're nations, but before we were tribes. We're no. Biluilnu, yeah.
That's all. Just a different tribe and different way of speaking. We have so many dialects too, right across.
Different. We speak differently than in New Brunswick or even mainland Nova Scotia or Quebec. We don't. We have different dialect.
You can always tell where people are from. You go to Elsiboktup, which is Cove, and they have a different dialect. They almost sing, like when they talk. Yeah. It's good to hear different people. Like when we all get to powwow and we're all talking, everybody has a different dialect. But we're all Ulno.
Yeah, we're Ulno, and I think that's the main, the grounding thing where we all have something in common is no matter what the government or anybody says, who you are, Indian or any political crap stuff, Native or Indigenous, Aboriginal, First Nation, a tribe, a nation. Yeah. I still think we all boils down to Ulno. And I think that it's politically correct for us because nobody asked us. Yeah. Who we are.
So I'm glad you asked. We are Ulno.
I find that very funny because still to this day, nobody asked us who we are. The word Mi'kmaq even comes from, they really don't know where that word comes from because then it was Micmac before it was Mi'kmaq. Yeah. And then they think that it comes from when we used to call the French Nigmaq. Or they heard us calling each other Nigmaq family. Yeah. Kid Nigmaq is my family. And so the French kind of misinterpreted and make it sound like an M. Yeah, maybe. So, and then the English came, and then it was Micmac. And then, in the 70s and the 80s, in the 90s, it started to become less Micmac, but more Mi'kmaq. Yeah. And then and now that's our politically correct term now, because when you say Micmac, it's kind of like, you're that's not the right way to say it because I'm not Micmac, but I'd rather sometimes I say I'm Micmac. It makes no difference who says anything because I think that it's just all the same thing, But I guess all the politically correctness. From the word Indian, like I have a hard time when non-natives say you Indian or Indian, and I have a hard time with that because I think I'm like there's something you shouldn't say that. Yeah. It's our word. we can call each other Indians, but when you say it to us, to me it doesn't. It shouldn't. It sounds wrong. Like there's always a negative. There's a negative tone behind it or something, That's how I feel about it anyways.
The only time you hear it is when the other person is meaning, not in a good way, and they'll say it to you. Yeah. In India.
Yeah, that's what I notice. Yeah, you're dirty Indian or you're drunken Indian or anything like it goes with that just that one, something negative with it. So
because all these years, I guess, the word Indian was so associated with a drunken Indian, no good Indian, So when we hear it now, even as we don't drink or anything, but when it's pointed at you, when they point to say Indian, it comes from back there.
I guess that's the word that the word Indian comes. It's just a negative, and usually was used in a negative context. But sometimes most people here, anyways, in Eskasoni, I notice that we don't use the word Indian. No. We might sometimes, but not really. We will because we speak language.
It's fun, huh?
Yeah.
I remember one time we were going to Boston, and Uncle and I stopped at a rest area, and Bear River. A couple of people from Bear River were parked there too. And this guy tells us, "Hey, you Indians, where are you heading to?" You don't mind,
Yeah.
Done in jest. And everybody was just looking at the other guy. We didn't take, it didn't offend us or anything.
Yeah.
But when you travel anyway, you always meet up with Alnu, Nadamia.
Yeah. I always meet up with somebody somewhere. And it's just, it's funny because you will always, we do that too. Where you bunch of Indians going or come meet with somebody, we'll always say that. It's just, we're joking about it. Like they let you out the res, where you going? And I'm
do you have your car to leave the res?
Yeah. I just think about, I guess that those words, because like in Eskasoni, it's kind of, a lot of people speak the language here, and it's, nobody really says Indian or, I mean, I find when people say even use native, I'm native, you're native, that's kind of weird too, I think, but I guess it's just the way.
Politically correct.
Yeah, I have to be politically correct, which is all right, which is fine.
We'll live with it.
Yeah, but
the world is changing so much now.
And we came to a quick agreement. We say, "Oh no," and that's what we call ourselves. That was quick. That was fast.
That's all I've ever heard. I didn't even know I was a different tribe when I was a child. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.